Welcome back. Welcome back to yet another episode of the Young Democrats of Georgia Black Caucus live interview series. We haven't done one in about T minus a few weeks, but we had one lined up special for you, something real special for you. This right here is going to be a real interesting one too, because we're going to get into some real nitty gritty of what politics is. We're going to give you an insight of what politics truly looks like and a perspective from a woman, not only just a woman, but the only woman on the Board of Commissioners. Without further ado, you wonder who I'm talking about. Let me go ahead and bring her on. Commissioner Sanders of District 3.
Hello, how are you?
I am well. How about you?
I'm excited to be here. It's a good day.
Yes, I'm excited, especially after, made some connections with people from your team who are out here definitely advocating for you extremely hard. I mean, they're going hard from you. And after listening to this story, it gave me a lot of flashbacks to kind of what we went through in the city of Jonesboro. So I'm excited to have you on, and I think we're about to jump into some really important topics. What do you say?
Let's get into it. Let's do it.
All right. Well, for those who may not know you, will you go ahead and just give a quick introduction of who you are, what you represent, and just let them know who you are?
That's right. I am Commissioner Alana Sanders. I am the Commissioner of District 3. I'm honored to say that I'm the first African-American female to sit on the Board of Commissioners. I'm the first African-American to win this district. And I'm also the sole female on the Board of Commissioners currently. And I'm excited to be here. I have been on the board for 3.5 years, currently up for re-election. And I'm honored to serve District 3 in Newton County.
Love it. I love it. So before we go really into the nitty gritty of things, what has your time been like serving on the Board of Commissioners, especially somewhere like a Newton County?
I would have to say that I'm honored and I'm thankful to be able to serve in this county and that the voters allowed me to do so. Many people don't realize that the elected official works for the people, not the people working for the elected official. So I have been honored to serve in this capacity. It hasn't been an easy role. As I tell everybody, politics is not for the weak at heart. It's not for the faint. I wouldn't wish it on anyone because there are times where you say, why, Lord, am I doing this? But if you have a heart of serving, and if you have a heart for the people, this is something that you're supposed to be doing. This is your assignment, as I stated to someone earlier. If you have the assignment to serve, and this is what you're supposed to be doing, then the road will be easy. It may be some bumps and bruises, but this is what it is.
And I couldn't have put it better myself, because I feel like that is exactly what it is. People think of politics as just this, clear cut. I have an agenda. I have things I want to do, and it's going to be a butter smooth path. And we're about to really show you at the end of this why it's not necessarily like that. But for it to be so bumpy, what is it that keeps you going? What keeps you in the fight?
I would definitely have to say the people, the supporters, the people who put me in place, and to see that the things that I have done and actually touches people. I had a constituent, and I call my constituents my neighbors. I never call them constituents because on a local level, you actually live in a neighborhood. I live in the same subdivision of people who actually put me in office. So I call them my neighbors. And it was my birthday on Sunday. And so she said to me, she said, Commissioner, I'm so glad I met you because you helped me. And I don't want to say be better because you're already better. You helped me to come out of my shell. You helped me to speak out. You helped me to be more transparent. You helped me to fight for my community. You woke me up. And so I've been told that a lot of times in my county that I've awoken a community that has been asleep, that had no idea what was happening behind the scenes, had no idea what was happening in government. And people, as you stated earlier, Devontae, people think that when they get into politics, that it's peaches and cream. I walked into this green. I walked into this blindly. And I said, hey, I'm going to do this change. We're going to do this. We're going to fight this. And we're going to do all this. And when I got there, I was like, this is not what y'all doing. This is not what y'all doing back here. This is not what you're doing. Where's the people? Where's the people? Where's the people's agenda? And so I am a very, very transparent commissioner. I woke the people up. I told them what was going on, and I informed them of the meetings. I post everything about what's happening in the community, that you should be knowing what's happening. This is occurring over here. This is occurring over here. These are your tax dollars. Don't come after us after the fact. Don't come after us after the fact, because after the vote is over, you need to get to us before the vote is done and speak your piece so we know what's happening. And so that's what I do. I inform the people. And so I get backlash for that, especially from my colleagues, because I inform the people. They're not used to people coming to these board meetings. Now they come. Now they're paying attention.
Yes, and we actually spoke about this when we talked probably a few days ago about the lack of voter education and the lack of knowledge. And we talked about how that becomes a problem for people who are trying to get away with certain things when, it's a lot easier when your people are a little bit more naive or not aware of what's going on. And it seems like you're really putting the spotlight on issues like, hey, look, your budget, we're talking about your budget, we're talking about where your tax dollars going, so you're really doing a lot to push voter education. Would you say voter education is kind of one of your top priorities?
That is my biggest priority. When I ran in 2020, that's all I did. I had to educate the people on what a commissioner does. There were people who said, I don't vote. I only vote for the president. Why do I need to vote for the commissioner? And I said, well, what issues do you have in your community? Well, these roads are not done. It's not clean on this side. They don't cut the grass. Why we don't have sit down restaurants? I mean, they were just talking all types of things that a commissioner does. And I said, where's your commissioner? Where have you been the last 12 years when this person was sitting in his seat for 12 years? And that's everybody. We were just living our lives, and people don't understand that the local level of politics is your most important politics, your most important government, because we determine your livelihood, we determine where you live. We have policies put in place based on your businesses. We have policies put in place based on your housing and what happens in your area and zoning and so forth. And if you don't pay attention to that, your judges on your local level, for God's sake, your law enforcement, your sheriffs, your DAs, your tax commissioner, all these are local level people that you have to vote for, but you complain about tax bills, you complain about various things, you complain about increasing taxes. That's your local level. That's your local officials.
My bad. I had the mute button on. I didn't want no static going on while you was talking. But I was saying you hit it right on the head when you were talking about, your judges, your DAs, all of these positions are people that control and have so much power over your day-to-day lives that you vote for these positions. So when we talk about voting, I believe, was it 2020? I believe y'all had a record high election.
Yes,
Can
we did.
you can you go into detail or even tell me and everybody else maybe why it was so high and how it was so high?
It was high because I believe they wanted to see a difference. They wanted to see a change in the community, as well as we had a lot going on in 2020. We had Ahmaud Arbery. We had Black Lives Matter. We had Trump. we had so much happening in 2020 to where the people just got up and said, no more. We got to make a difference. We even had the young people. They were out rallying. They were doing so much. They was going to vote. I was able to touch so many young folks doing, and I'm not old. I'm just saying, younger than I. I was able to touch them and talk to them and talk about how they felt about the Mike Brown and all those various things that happened, and I can't breathe and all that stuff and how they felt. And then I was able to hit them. Well, elections are going on right now. Early voting is down the street. This is happening. Early voting is down the street. Oh, I'm going to vote right now. And so I was walking in the rallies with them, not because I was campaigning. I fought for this. I have a brother. I have cousins that are Black men. And so I was in the trenches fighting with them. I was out in the streets. Yes, let's go. And so they saw me interact. They saw me not faking the funk. I'm going to be honest with you. One of the things about, I would say, the generation up under me is that they want to see real people. They want to see real public service. They don't want to see the people giving them pipe dreams and telling them stories and nothing's going to happen. I spoke to a lot of young folks who said that they're not going to even vote. So going back to the record numbers, I had 11. My area has about 20,000 or 19, between 18 19,000 registered voters. I had 11,000 votes in 2020. I actually had 60% of the voter turnout. We made history in District 3. The sad thing is that here now it seems like the morale of voting has went down. And we got to figure out why. We got to figure out why people are not voting. We need to talk to the people and find out why they're not voting to get them to vote. And so this is very important.
I couldn't everything like I want to elaborate more on what you're saying, but it's like every topic you hitting it point blank, point blank how it needs to be hit. I mean, would you have to because you have a daughter, correct?
Yes, I do. Yes.
How old is your daughter?
My daughter's 19.
19. Would you say having a 19-year-old daughter kind of gives you a perspective and an insight on like I mean, because you hit it right on the head when you said, kind of the generation under you is not as inspired. They want
Mhm.
more transparency. They're tired of being sold these pipe dreams. Do you think having not just a daughter but nephews and everybody younger than you in your community, which are not that old, that's not what I'm saying,
That's
but
okay.
in your community around you, to do you find that important to have those voices around you to keep you enlightened?
It is very important because I get to have the conversation and understand. And then we agree to disagree, but I get to hear how they feel. My daughter and I have conversations like this all the time. We talk about voting, we talk about politics, we talk about real life experiences. And her friends talk about it as well. And they're not excited about voting. They're not too happy with us. I don't want to say old folks because we're not. they're not too enthused about what they see in office.
Mhm.
They're not too enthused of what's happening in this world because they believe that we failed them. And I have to say we, even though I'm not a part of what people are doing, but I have to say we because I am an elected official. And so they're not happy what's going on. They're not happy with some of these candidates running. They're like, who, what? What are you standing for? Because the issues that the candidates are speaking about are not truly relating to youth. And they're tired of hearing the same stories over and over on what I can do for you if I'm elected and how this is going to happen. And when once you get elected, they don't see the drive. They don't see the fight. They don't see you reaching out to them, asking them questions. Give you an example when with me trying to build this youth facility, I actually went to the high schools. I went to the middle schools. I went to the elementary schools. I said, what do you want? Me as an adult, I'm not going to be in this facility. What do you want to see in there? And they gave me a totally different perspective of what I really wanted to see in this facility. So I had to go ask the people who are going to be there. I have to talk to them. And if you don't talk to them, you don't know how they're feeling.
Mhm. And since you brought that up, I want to go ahead and go into something that I've really been wanting to jump off with. Through the grapevine, I heard that you were able to secure some funding that would s- s- impact your community. I mean, any community, whether it's as big as Atlanta or whatever. Can you speak on what I'm speaking on with the funding that you were able to secure and what is happening with that funding?
Yes, I was able to secure $4 million from our Congressman Hank Johnson. And so the reason why I applied for that grant was to build a facility that will be conducive enough for our youth, that would have the technology that our youth want, that would have exactly what they are envisioning. And so we only had like $4.1 million. I'm not just gonna say only, I know that's not just our only number. We had $4.1 million, and this is inflation time. So to buy land and to build $4.1 million was not enough to build a facility, especially what we wanted to see. And so I applied for a congressional grant through Congressman Hank Johnson in 2022. No, sorry, 2021. And we were awarded that money in 2022 to build a facility. That gives us almost $9 million to build that youth facility. The grant came from HUD, which is your Housing Urban Development, and it is sitting there waiting for us to move forward to build this facility. And so that's where we are now.
Mm, that's where we are now.
That's where we are now.
Still waiting, and
We're waiting, and the issue is, and I'm going to put this out there. I speak
Mhm.
truth. I'm very transparent, and so that's where we are now. We had a consultant come in and to conduct research to say where it should be, which is actually my area. And also, we had a consultant come in and have people pick and select where they wanted their project to go. The people selected a project. Of course, there's certain individuals that were trying to stop it on my board for moving forward. And because of, and I'm going to say this, because of my predecessor, you have people who were in office for so long that they don't want to let it go. They don't want to let it go. And what happens is when you're no longer in office, if a project that you had put in place that you never move with, it falls within that elected official. That's how it works. It's not that I just want to take over a project. It falls with the next elected official. It never moved. Nothing never happened. And so I wanted to see some movement with that project. I want to see some funding because originally only $495,000 was allocated to build that building. Then when I came in place, an additional 3.7 was allocated, giving us that 4.1. And that's when I went and applied for additional funding, which gave us almost the $9 million to build that facility and to find land. And so that was a project from 2017 that never moved. It fell in my hands. And now we are here trying to move forward. The grant is secured for us. All we have to move forward. HUD contacts me almost every month or twice a month saying, what are y'all going to do with the money? This is free taxpayers' dollars. And this is not $4. It's not $4,000. It's not $400,000. It's $4 million. Okay? This is $4 million that is tax-free money that's coming to the county to build for our youth, for our kids. I am the only district that does not have parks and recreation. I am one of the largest districts. Actually, I am the largest district because I lost people during redistricting because I was the only district that grew. And all of the people have not been counted because there's homes still being built in my district. So I have the most kids. I have the most schools in the parameter. I have 4 schools, a high school, 2 elementary schools, and a middle school. So all the kids are in my area to where something needs to be done. So they have something productive to do. So what happens when you don't provide things or program and put something in place that's positive for the youth? What happens? They get into things they should not be getting into. So you cannot talk about these kids and say they're in crime or they're devious or they're juvenile delinquents and so forth. I don't like that word. You cannot talk about them when you have not done your part. And I have to say, we have not done our part. Oh, it takes more than one commissioner to move forward. I am only one commissioner. It takes 3 commissioners to move anything, a quorum. And so we have not done our part. And until we do our part, we cannot talk about these youth because we have not done our part to provide what they need in the program they need to be better residents, to be better citizens of the United States of America.
Preach, preach, preach. Because that is the purpose of every park. That is the purpose of every after school program. It is to give kids something to do because when kids are bored, especially young Black kids, which is majority of our, I mean, all of our platform and all of our membership,
and that's
that is
my
exactly what happens. So we are a reflection of your district. You actually hit one of my next questions with the fact that you're not having a park in your district, which is a problem to me. But I want to go ahead and jump in. I want to kind of pick your brain because we definitely have a lot of women in our membership. We have Ariana, who is definitely one of the most influential people that helps this ship run. And I want to wonder what is it like being the only woman and the only woman of color on a commissioner's board?
It's not a good feeling. I'm going to tell you that. It was exciting feeling when I first came in office, but it's not a good feeling when people feel that they can bully, when they can let me try to get the right words, when they feel that they can slow walk you down and feel that you will take the certain things that they do, or they use your project that's for a community and try to use that against you, but they don't realize it's not hurting me, this one person, this one elected official. You're hurting thousands. You're hurting thousands of kids. You're hurting thousands of people when you don't build a community center, when you don't build the parks. It's not hurting me. It's hurting the people in that community. And so the problem is with that is that they always have this stereotype when it comes to minority, Black and brown women. They have this stereotype that we are aggressive. They have the stereotype that we're angry. I'm not angry at anybody. I'm passionate. I'm not going to allow you to walk over me. So in speaking up for my community, I'm elected official. I was put in place to fight for community, so I'm going to fight. So I don't know if some have this perspective that women should sit down and be quiet and be butterflies, sitting back and just be cute. But if we are in this position, we have to fight. We have to fight for our community in a positive way, and you have to be able to agree to disagree. Don't get into your egos. Don't get upset when somebody doesn't agree with what you're saying, or maybe come back with something. If you came back with them with the funk, they coming back with you with the same vibe. So you have to
Mhm.
understand. We have to be, hey. I mean, I'm human and you're human, but we have to respect one another because I'm a woman doesn't mean that you can command and demand me to do something because I'm not on your agenda. I'm on the people's
Mhm.
agenda, and that is the only agenda I'm going to be on. I say this on every platform because I want this to go viral. I am a public servant where I serve the community. Politicians go to jail. And we're going to leave that right there.
Well, we're gonna, hey, I mean, that we're gonna go ahead and clip that one too. You're gonna see that on the Instagram clip. You're gonna clip that one, and I also wanted to ask that because I got my hands on a little film, a little some footages, right? And I I was kind of, it was worrisome because you being, I mean, one, a human being, I mean, just a human being in, your capacity, fighting for what you're fighting for. And in politics, we're not always going to agree. But I got my hands on some footage that seemed like there was a dispute during I guess it was a board of commissioners meeting. In that film, it looked like, hostility and some aggression. And from my knowledge, you had to be escorted to your car in order for you to make sure you made it out and home safely. Can you kind of elaborate on that if you can? If you can.
Yes, I would have to say this has been going on since I stepped in this seat, sadly. Um, and I would have to say that some people feel that they can rule or they can lead by being bullies, or they can use certain tactics to try and intimidate you. I'm not a person that's easily intimidated, and that can probably affect the person who is a bully because I'm not easily intimidated. And so I feel that if you cannot use your words to express yourself and you have to use your body or feel like or show aggression because you feel like you can't use your words to talk, then that is a problem. That is the issue. Then you have to question what type of leader are you? Is this a dictatorship that I have to fall in line because that's the type of leadership that you use? We were in a board of commissioners meeting and it got pretty heated. It got pretty heated. And actually, it kind of started with my opponent. And that's on record. That's on record. It's my opponent. My opponent is the attorney to our current chair and business partner to our current chair. And so there were statements made in regards to a commissioner in one of our areas that's an underserved area to where currently that park has been closed down since September, where our kids cannot even use their own park in the underserved community. That is a huge problem. And so she made those statements that kind of caused a change in the atmosphere to where the commissioner that she was coming at basically defended himself. And so at the end, the chairman hops up. I don't know what he was hopping up for, I have no idea. To where I told security that she needs to be escorted out because she was getting kind of sort of aggressive. And all this is on tape. It's not no lies. This is all on tape. And so the officers, the deputies had to get involved in the whole situation to escort her out. And then while he was standing there, it was just myself, the attorney, and him. And I said, hey, let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it. And his statement to me, I don't want to talk to you. This is our chair. And I said, that's the problem. You're the problem. I'm trying to have a conversation with you and you're upset.
I saw your
And
hand. I saw your
yeah,
hand
I'm like,
doing
yeah,
the like.
I'm like, I said, I'm
Mhm.
trying to have a conversation with you, and you just on 10. That's the first time he's ever been on 10. This is not the first video, okay? This is like the last one where I had to press charges. And so I'm like, come on, let's have a conversation. And then I don't know if this ticked him off. I don't know if my statement, I said, you are a father of daughters. And you should want to respect a woman because you have all daughters. All of his children are daughters. And that's not talking about his kids because I don't bring children in the mix because I have a child. But I was basically telling him, you have to show the example because you are not going to like it if a man does what you're doing to somebody else's daughter. I'm somebody's daughter. I'm somebody's sister. I'm somebody's friend. Okay. So if this was happening to your daughter, you would be ready to fight any man who's coming at your daughter forcefully. So I was trying to get him to see that. And so I guess when I said that, he comes back. You probably saw it on the video. He comes back and they trying to hold him back as if he was trying to come attack me. And I'm like, dude, why? I'm trying to understand.
You were in one position the whole time. It's not like you were like bouncy or like waving. I mean, you were talking with your hands,
I wasn't
like
provoking him or nothing.
Yeah, it was like how a normal person talks with their hands.
Let's have a conversation. And it was twice. If you saw in the video, it was like 2 or 3 times that to hold him back to where even his secretary had to come from the other side and come hold him back. And so then there's a second video after they had to lure him to the police and everybody had to come get him and lure him to his office and the attorney had to say, come on, man, let's go. The second video is me walking down. At that point, the deputies had to walk me to my car. And so I had a female deputy walking me to my car. And so she was like, come on, Commissioner Sanders, I got you. Let's walk to the car. So she walked up and it was another, a neighbor that was with me that was also trying to make sure I got to my car. Because I thank you for my neighbors in Newton County that look out for me. And it normally be women. And what shocked me at that meeting, and everybody asked me this question who saw that video, you saw there was a lot of men standing around, didn't you? None came. It was the women that were holding him back. And so that question was asked to a lot of people. Why were these men just watching and looking? Why were they allowing it to happen? No matter how they feel about you, those men have daughters. And if a man would have came and did the same thing to their daughters, they'll be ready to take off their jacket and rip off their shirt and fight and defend. No matter what. That's just the training you have from your parents that says you don't do these type of things. Now, if a woman putting their hands on a different story, I did neither. I did neither. And so I'm walking downstairs and the security is walking with me. The female security officer is walking with me. And he's coming down the stairs. And all I hear, I'm walking and the deputy said, Commissioner Sanders, go through this door. Go through this door. So he's walking behind me. And I didn't even know this was happening, but I feel a presence like right by my neck. And so when I watched the video, I got the surveillance tape from the sheriff's office. So it came from Open Records Sheriff Office. Okay. And when I saw it and it had the sound to it, and my opponent is in that video, by the way, I was like, oh my God, he was trying to jump in front of me or push me out the way. I don't know what he was trying to do to where they had to catch him and hold him back. And the security had to push him back and say, go back there. So he wouldn't even do that to where his secretary, another woman, had to say, hey, stop. And and to hear my opponent, it sounded like she was all for it. But let me tell you what happened after that. I posted a video online because I wanted the residents to see what actually happened. First time I posted, it didn't have sound, and then I asked for the sound, and the sheriff department gave me the sound. And you could hear my opponents basically saying, she out there talking her mess. I mean, it was just so, I don't want to say ghetto.
Unprofessional.
Unprofessional. That I was just shocked at the whole scene. I mean, it was like you were provoking it to occur and that you were not even saying we should be, as his attorney, as his business partner, I expect you to say, that's not how we conduct ourselves in public. We don't do these type of things. I am the one who is your legal advisor. Let's not do these type of things. No, you matched his energy. Instead of calming him down, you matched the energy instead of moving on. And I'm down at the bottom of the steps talking to the deputy. She said, "This is a mess." And we all talking, all of us talking, and you could just hear them going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So after that happened, because I posted a video online, she sent me a cease and desist to take it down. And I said, no. I didn't even answer and respond. And I'm like, no, this is public records. This is open records. Any resident can go get this and put this online.
Anybody can get this. I'm about to say anybody can get this.
Anybody can get it. You can go ask for it from the sheriff's office. Anybody can get it. I'm like, no, I want residents to see what happens. I want them to experience what's occurring, because these things have been happening to me when we go into the executive session. I want you to see these things. And so I didn't take it down. And so after that followed the lawsuit. My opponent, who is his attorney, sent the lawsuit on his behalf that I slandered and defamation of character. And I'm like, this video came from the sheriff's office. So there's currently a pending lawsuit to where I had to go get legal as well. And then she sent the lawsuit to someone who shared the video. So they got sued too, because they shared it from my page. And I'm like, this is like just right. But that's not it. And let's go back to 2021. The same person that's running against me, she had a situation with a neighbor to where myself and another commissioner had to be a witness. Okay. Oh, she's saying me. She put me. You see it on the so the person had to be a witness. And so we had to be a witness for this individual. And so we told the truth, said what we saw, and that's what happened. And so I guess she didn't like the outcome. I don't know. After that, me and that commissioner in our emails received a stalking order. And I'm like, when did I ever stalk you?
It seems like a lot of trying to put something,
yes,
you just put something on paper. A lot of people aren't going to go dig. They're just going to see like, oh, there's a stalking order. Without actually going to see what is happening and what that actually means. That's what it sounds like, in my opinion, at least.
I talked to it because it came to the county. It fell with the county attorney. So I talked to, we had a female county attorney at that time. I talked to her, and she was going to converse with myself and the other commissioner who received the stock. Because not only did it was myself, another commissioner, and 2 or 3 other residents who all testified got stalking orders. And I'm like, what? I said, I don't even know where you live. Even if I go look up your address, I've never been to your area. And my first time ever seeing her area is when I'm campaigning now. I had no idea where she lived. And then when the address was on the actual paperwork, I had to Google it to figure out what was the location she said I couldn't go to. And then when I did research even more, I found out it wasn't even submitted through the proper authorities. So it was a scare tactic. So that's what she does. She uses her profession as a scare tactic to try to shut people up when they're speaking truth. And that's the scary part about it. And that's the part when I tell people this, when I cry out, I say I cry out from the county, because you have people like this who are running for office, who are using power and position. And you have residents who are scared to speak up and speak out because they see an attorney. They see this person's attorney, and I'm scared because they're going to do this to me and that to me. Let me tell you something. Yes, they may be attorney, but they still have to follow the same laws that we do in the United States of America. And as you can see, we had some attorneys get locked up and are in jail. So as you can see, they have to follow the exact same laws, policies, and procedures in the United States of America. Nobody is above the law. So I can't stand it when people use scare tactics to try to hush people up because they speak up and speak out. So I'm going to send you this cease and desist. I'm going to send you this lawsuit. I'm going to send you a stalking order. I'm going to try to create records on you so these things are happening, to try to mess up your reputation. That's the part of politics I do not like. Because at that point, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I was gonna say you like the getting $4 million type of politics.
Let's be about the business. Let's be about all that other stuff. I told my board, I said I can care less if y'all like me or not.
That's irrelevant.
I'm here to make friends.
Yeah,
I'm here to fight for a community. We don't have to go out and have drinks. We don't have to go to a restaurant. You don't have to invite me to Christmas dinner or Thanksgiving dinner. But as we are on this board sitting around this horseshoe and we're fighting for one purpose and goal, and that's for the residents of Newton County, Georgia, the taxpayers of Newton County, Georgia. I'm pretty sure, Devontae, you have worked with some people that you cannot stand.
Still do.
Yeah, okay. I was a business chair. I worked in corporate. There was some people I did not like, but guess what? Because we had a common goal and we had a job to do, we did our job. But guess what? I probably didn't hang with you after work. I didn't converse with you. But when we had the job, we did our job. We were cordial. We agreed to disagree, and we went home. This is a job. We were elected to do a job. I was not put in this position to be your bestie. I was not put in this position to be your homegirl. I was not put in this position to make sure your feelings are okay. Now I'm going to respect you. Now respect is earned. I will respect you. But when you start off from the beginning disrespecting, you show me who you are. And that is the main thing.
See, I ain't gonna lie, right there, this is why I personally feel like, and she already has the endorsement of the Young Democrats of Georgia Black Caucus, just putting that out there.
Thank you.
I feel like this Saturday, early voting this Saturday, people need to get out this Saturday and early vote. And you know who you need to cast your vote for, because that's what I want to hear in my elected official. I don't care about you making friends. I don't care about who you like, who you don't like. I need $4 million in my community. That's what I need. That's what I need. I mean, so, and speaking of that, how do people get a part of the campaign? How do people get involved with all of everything that you have going on?
Call me. You can be a part of this campaign. Hey, holding up signs, phone banking, texting. You can reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram at Commissioner Sanders, or it might be Commissioner Alana, Lana Sanders. Or if you're more formal, you can go to commissionersanders.com, contact me through there. We interesting. I was at church on Sunday, and one of my residents came up to me saying, I'm happy they were one of my seniors, and he said, "Oh, it's just an honor to be in your presence, Commissioner." I said, "No, it's an honor to be in your presence because you the one voted for me." And he said, "Congratulations." I said, "Thank you." I said, "But you know you got to go back to the polls, right?" "Oh, we got to go back." He thought I won.
That is so real, though. That is so real.
He thought I won. He thought I won. And I said, "Sir, I'm in a runoff. So I can tell your friend, to tell another friend, to tell your whole neighborhood, knock on the door, bring them with you. They got to come to the polls. They got to get back to the polls." And I tell them, "Come this Saturday. Knock it out on the Saturday. You don't have to worry about the rest of the week." All early voting is from the 8th through the 14th, and election day is on the 18th. But knock out early voting, get it out the way, because you don't want to get to the point where it's election day and you forget and then you don't vote. It's so important because this election is crucial. Local elected officials, we are the ones fighting for your livelihood. We're fighting for the kids to come back to something that they want to see done, or are helping that next generation to be able to have a life and to lead. One of the things my daughter and her friends said, and this is something that touched my heart. They said they're not coming back to Newton County. Once they graduate from college, they're not coming back to Newton County. They're not coming back to Georgia. And the reason why is because of what they've seen. You know, your generation and younger, you guys are different. Y'all are not about that black and white prejudice type of thing. There might be some that are out there, but you guys are in an era to where you want to see unity. You want to see love. You don't want to see this chaos. You're like, I don't want to deal with these old folks fussing up. You're not about that. You guys are completely different. That's why I have hope for this next generation of leaders. And it's important that we that are in these seats groom up the next generation of leaders, because we need you in these seats, because we can't do it any longer. And I'm going to say this, and this is no offense to anybody. I do believe in long-term elected officials. if they're doing a job. If they're there for 20, 30 years and you doing a job and you doing the doggone thing and you're
Keep
fighting
going.
for your community and you getting these grants and they see you out there, you could be there for 100 years. You know what I'm saying? But if you're sitting in this seat for 30 years and they can't even say they even know what you look like, and my grandkids that came through and said, he was here when you was, Granny.
Only giving out proclamations and resolutions and ain't got no real
And you're
paperwork.
not doing nothing. You're sitting there. And so that's the elected officials I have a problem with. So where you need some new blood. The other elected officials I have a problem with is those who don't think outside the box, and you're still thinking those old ideologies. You're still thinking those old ways. And the world has changed since you were 15. The world has changed since you were 25.
Just a little
So
bit.
yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, just a little
Just a
bit.
little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah. But we need you to think, but it can change if you think differently. If we can get the ones that have the old way of thinking out of the way, it can change if you get the right people in place. I don't believe that politics is bad. It's the people that make it bad. It's the people that give it a bad name. It's the people in place that use this position for power and money. And I'm going to put that out there. They use this position for power and money and forget about the people that we're supposed to be serving. So that is the problem that I have with this position. That's why I said when I walked in being an elected official, I walked in green. And I'm kind of glad I did walk in green because it made me see from virgin eyes on what's really happening in this government. It let me see. And this is not coming from me. I talked to a lot of my commissioner friends because we go to various conferences. I'm a vice chair on a lot of federal boards. I speak to a lot of commissioners and feel the same way. That we have to change our way of thinking because we have a new generation that's coming behind us that do not believe in what we are doing. And it's really important that we change the game for the people that's coming behind us because we're not doing a so good job. You have those in place who are trying to do a good job at those things, but they can't pass a lot of stuff because you have people in place that are trying to stop it. Because as you know, you have to have a quorum to pass anything. You have to
No
have a
matter
quorum.
what level of government you on, you need that. You need the numbers.
You gotta have the numbers. It would be great if one commissioner could say, hey, I want to change this, and we just gonna change it. It would be great, but that's not how it works in government. You gotta have everybody on board, and you have to have the right officials in place that understand that your way is not always be the right way. We're gonna agree to disagree. You have to respect me, and I'll respect you. But if you starting off from day one with disrespect, then that person's gonna always be on guard. When I first came in office, my first meeting as an elected official, I had the honor of being the vice chair of my board. And how it works is that it rotates. It rotates from each commissioner every year. And so it just so happened when I became commissioner, it was my year to become the vice chair. So it was so much happening behind the scenes of this person saying, well, my chair saying I couldn't be vice chair, or he felt I shouldn't be vice chair because of this and that. I said, wait, but you don't even know me. You don't even know my middle name. You know nothing about me. This is our first meeting, which makes you think that I don't have the expertise or the experience to be vice chair. I've been doing Robert Rules of Order since 4-H and 5th grade and banging gallons.
Not 4-H. Oh, don't put 4-H on
4-H, you know? Like, teach you parliamentary procedure back in the day. I mean, I've been doing that for years, okay? Even in church as an A&E pastor's child, being in YPD, we've been doing parliamentary procedure. So what part of my job that says I have to have a degree in parliamentary procedure in order to serve? The only requirements to be an elected official is a high school diploma.
And most people don't know that. Most people don't.
Diploma, live in the area for at least 1 year, and have a good criminal criminal background. There is nothing that says you have to be a poli-sci major. There's nothing that says you have to be an attorney. There's nothing that says you have to have a bachelor's or a PhD. You just have to have a high school diploma to be an elected official in the United States of America. And then some positions have certain age limits, like the President of the United States. That's it.
That's it, though.
So when I came in office, I was told, hey, you can't be the vice chair. So when I got to my first meeting, it was exciting to be at this first meeting. Of course, I had the jitters. I'm at my first meeting, sitting in my seat with my name plate, Commissioner Alana Sanders. And I speak to one of the commissioners who sits on the left-hand side of me. And he says, why you don't want to be vice chair? I said, who told you that? He said, well, the chair told me you didn't want to be vice chair. I said, I never said that.
Them words never came out of my mouth.
So he calls the chair over and he says, she wants to be vice chair. Let her handle it because they told me that they asked the commissioner that's in District 4, which is Commissioner Henderson, and he said, no, I'm not going to take that from Commissioner Sanders. Then, so I guess Commissioner Henderson do it. So I guess they kind of, I don't know what they told him to agree to it, but I guess they told him that I didn't want to do it. And so he basically said, she's going to do it. Now, mind you, this rotates every year automatically. It's on the consent agenda. You vote one time, you move forward. I'm the first commissioner where it has ever been placed as a separate agenda item, where they're discussing my educational background, discussing who I am, and discussing if I'm even qualified to be a vice chair. Now, mind you, the vice chair only sits in when the chairman is not there.
Literally, you're like, you don't have really any substantial power until you are not here. As long as you hear it, you good.
Not there. So I am sitting there, and this was on the Black Caucus. I am sitting there watching, and this was I could send you this actual video. You can watch it. Actually, matter of fact, it's on my YouTube. I cut out that part. I'm watching my brothers because our board now we made history with me being on the board as a predominantly Democrat and a predominantly Black minority board.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm watching my brothers sit there and basically tear me apart, telling me I'm not qualified, telling me that government parliamentary procedure is completely different. Robert rules is Robert rules everywhere. I didn't know there was one for. I mean, tell me where is it different? Telling me, and I said, you don't even know my educational background. You don't even know nothing about me. You don't know if I'm a college professor or if I bag groceries at Walmart or at Kroger. You don't know anything about me. This is my first meeting. And at that meeting, I'm going to be honest with you. My non-melanin brothers who sat there, they just watched. They watched. And it gave them permission to come for me. Because you opened the door. My brothers, you opened the door. They weren't saying anything. And then all of a sudden, after about 10, 15 minutes of dialogue, they opened the door.
They said she ain't got no protection. Like, we're good to go.
Protection, so we can come at her. We can come at her right now because she has no protection because you, as her Black brother, is not protecting her. And this is your first time ever meeting this woman, and you coming at her like that, I can do it too.
Mm-hmm. It's true and sad at the same time.
You set the standard of how they were going to treat me from day one.
Mm-hmm.
You said it. That was my first meeting. Then my second meeting, there was an item that was on the agenda to where I just happened to find out. I didn't even know that my chairman had an invested interest in this business. I didn't know. But he didn't recuse himself. He should have recused himself and allowed me as the vice chair, but he would not allow me to even be in that seat. So my chairman didn't recuse himself. So I had no idea. I think he thought I knew. I had no idea. And so I abstained because I did not agree with the motion that before, and I didn't agree with the deliberation. So I abstained from that vote. So with me abstaining from the vote, it was a tie. So he can't vote. He only can vote when there's a tie. So he had
He
to
can
break.
only offset it, basically.
He only can vote when there's a tie, and so he had to break that tie. So he looks at this. All these videos on my YouTube, so you can. I'm not lying about anything. You can go to my
Yep.
YouTube, Commissioner Alana Sanders, and you can go find it. I think somebody's posted it in there for me.
Mhm.
But you can go get all these videos. So he looks to the left to ask the county manager, attorney, can you make her vote? Make me vote? What you mean make me vote? What? And, huh? Like, where they do that at?
You have to put a gun in my head and tell me to vote right now? Like, what?
And so, and he said, and the attorney says, Commissioner, can I help you understand? I said, no, I understood perfectly. I disagree with what he says. I disagree with this person says. It puts me in the middle. I abstain from this vote. I said, so it's a tie. The chairman, you have to vote, right? It's a tie. It is what it is. So he looks to the left. He looks to the right. The way I'm saying this, you'll see the whole thing. And then he just hits the gavel. I abstain too. And so I said, okay, well, and so I guess he was upset because I don't know if he had an invested interest in his business or his attorney had invested interest in the business. He should have recused himself. And so he caused this ruckus all around the room. He went to recess, just going in. And while I'm talking to the attorney to get a better understanding, he puts his arm in between myself and this grown man, saying, "Don't you talk to her." And I'm like, what? What? And I said, "You're my space, brother. Get out of my space. You're in my space. This is all on tape, mind you. All on tape. You're in my space." And so I said, I don't do ghetto in public.
See, not in public. Not in public.
Public. I said, I don't do ghetto in public. I don't do that. And so he said, I don't do ghetto. I said, okay. I just got up out my seat and I had constituents telling me, come here. Just walk this way. Just come this way. I even had come over here, come by us. And I had our development services director at the time. She said, Commissioner, are you okay? I said, I'm fine. And he just steady, yet you could hear him just yelling around the room. She got me messed up. I'm a veto everything she puts on the table. That was my second meeting in 2021. Oh, they posting it. Yeah. He said, I'm going to veto everything she puts in her community. Everything. I'm going to make sure she don't have anything that's going to pass. That was in 2021, my second meeting. And guess what? He did it.
You did it. This is one, troublesome, but two, I think this is important that we have to get this message out here because I feel like things like this only really can slide in a Newton County because, like I told y'all before, like it's not a big enough spotlight yet on these things.
Right.
These are issues that need to be spotlighted, like because if this was anywhere else, this would not fly.
It
By
wouldn't fly.
no means, this wouldn't
It would
fly at
not fly.
all.
You
Like,
can't try that in Fulton County.
what?
I
Like,
know those commissioners that would not fly in Fulton.
so that's why I'm just like, even as we're going more in detail about it, it's just more like, okay, this is why we need to activate in Newton County right now. This is why we need to get out early voting. This is why we need y'all to grab a friend, to grab a friend, to grab a friend, and go get some lunch and vote, or vote and then go get some lunch or breakfast because polls open at 7
9.
a.m. 9 a.m. That's still breakfast time. You can still grab you some little breakfast time, but we need y'all to also get a part of the campaign. This is, I vouch for Commissioner Sanders. I do. Nice lady. Very sweet, about her business. Her team definitely about their business. And, we actually work together. Me and a lot of her team work together in other spaces that are outside of Newton County. So she's definitely out here working. Before we go ahead and close out, I do want to go ahead and let you give a shout out to your favorite sorority, though. Who's your favorite sorority out there?
The one and only sorority, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. The one and only. Who else?
There we go. And for y'all who don't know, that's 27 years in. That's 27 years in. That's it. She not new to it. She true to it. You dig what I'm saying?
Grambling State University, Delta Iota.
See, I don't know about all that. I can just say ooh and ah. That's all I got. I can't really say nothing else, you know. But before I let you go, is there any last messages you want to put out there? Any last contact information? I'm gonna let you have the floor right now. Shoot it out there.
Yes, I want to speak to the voters of Newton County and also around the state of Georgia as well. There are early voting that's starting on June 8th. We are in a runoff. Your local elected officials are crucial. I want to tell you all that you need to get back to the polls and get out and vote. Vote for the right person. I don't want to just say vote for me. I want you to look me up. I want you to call me and ask me the question and have the conversation. Don't believe hypes, don't believe rumors, don't believe those various things. Do your civic duty and find out for yourself on what's happening in your community. It is imperative that you get out and vote. It is imperative that you take your family with you to vote. It is imperative that you take your neighbor and you inform them that a voting is going on, because you have your tax commissioner on this ballot. You have your commissioner. Your commissioners are your legislative body in the county. These are people who are going to be voting on various things that happen within your community, from your school board, all those various things, local elected officials, any of those who are actually on the ballot in November. But this runoff election right here is important. You have a candidate like myself who's fighting for people. Then you have another candidate who's fighting for power and money. I'm here to tell you it is important. It is so important that you vote right in this election. Vote right, because those things that you want to see placed, those things you want to see changed in your community, you talk about mass development, you talk about mass building, but when you get someone in place that's a broker, when you get someone in place that's in commercial businessing and commercial real estate and those things, let me tell you something. It's going to be a total different ball game. I'm here to tell you, it's going to be a total different ball game. You have to make sure you get the right people in place. I also want to say this. My opponent made a comment that you need an attorney on board. We have a county attorney. We pay millions of dollars for a county government, a government attorney. There's a difference when it comes to attorneys. You have attorneys who specialize in accidents, criminal,
Mhm.
civil, and they have those. And our attorney that's already on the board, which is Commissioner Cowan, he's a real estate attorney. So anything that comes in regards to real estate, he can speak fluently on it because that's area. But when you say you need an attorney on board, my opponent is not a government attorney. So we have an attorney that takes care of our county business that we pay for an entire law firm. So if you're saying that attorney has to be on this board, then why are we paying millions of dollars for a county attorney to represent us? So it's imperative that you get someone on board who's going to listen, who's going to bring the ideas back to the people, to get the people involved in the decision-making process, to get the people involved in their community. And my vote is your vote. So it's important that you vote right during this runoff election. Get to the polls on this Saturday. Bring your family and friends. This is Commissioner Alana Sanders, and I am honored to have your vote again. Thank you.
That was good. That was
Thank
good.
you.
That was good right there. That's how you do it right there. So again, for more information, you may find and visit her website. That is commissionersanders.com. Again, that is commissionersanders.com. And please, 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 early voting starts this Saturday at 9 a.m. Make sure you get out there, and throughout the rest of the week, bump the rest of the week. We need you out there Saturday. We need you out there Saturday. We need you voting
Saturday.
Saturday. Don't wait for the rest of the week. Just knock it out right there. Get it over with. No lines, nothing. Knock it out the park. Commissioner Sanders, I want to say thank you for joining the Young Democrats of Georgia Black Caucus. Thank you for the enlightful information. Thank you for letting us know what's going on in Newton County. And best believe, they didn't woke the beast up with this one. We didn't know before. We know now. We know now.
you know. And I'm looking forward to working with you all. Call me anytime to be an advocate for anything, to speak on anything. I'm your girl.
Perfect. Commissioner Sanders and everybody out there, we thank you. And until next time, stay black and beautiful. I'm still working on that last tagline. I like that.
That was good. That was good.
All right, y'all.